There isn't much information on the Sigma INFJ people are aware of. People decide that it is preferable to be firm with these lone wolves than to disturb their calm without cause and come to regret it. Here are 10 reasons why dealing with a genuine Sigma INFJ is never a good idea. Number 10. When they feel it is necessary, they don't hesitate to break the law. Sigma INFJs aren't criminals or psychopathic rebels, but the reality is that following bad norms is worse than making uncomfortable but beneficial adjustments. They simply detest adhering to principles or systems that are dubious and misleading. Therefore, it is not that they dislike obeying your rules. When they give it some thought, they realize that it has always been that way. Sigma INFJs were impressive and responsible rebels even as teenagers. They distrust all forms of authority and detest having their every move dictated to them. Therefore, it's best to avoid applying the same old norms to a Sigma INFJ. With inquiries and arguments you weren't ready for, they'll ultimately decide to fire you. Not much has changed for me as a Sigma INFJ, has it? Number 9. They have such a strong sense of self-worth. A Sigma INFJ should never be mistreated since no one can ever force them to feel a certain way by calling them names and making character judgments without their consent. They cannot be offended by anyone calling them cowards. Similarly, no one has the power to diminish their self-confidence by telling them that they are overconfident or pushing too hard. Why? Because they are more aware of themselves than others are. These individuals depend on themselves and have self-belief. If they weren't their own supporters, how did they even hope to succeed? They are there for themselves, conditioning their thoughts and exhibiting their best qualities, while everyone else doubts their ability to succeed. They are confident they will succeed, and the remaining steps are irrelevant to anyone's concerns. Number 8. They can respond logically in any situation. The responses of Sigma INFJs are astonishingly logical. While when faced with triggering conditions, the majority of people react emotionally. Sigma INFJs have little trouble remaining composed and logical. During emotional chats, unreasonable conflicts, and heated debates, one of the very few people who can maintain composure and stability are Sigma INFJs. Because of their genuine interest in the other person's perspective. They genuinely care about the opinions of others. Instead of cutting them off and leaving the topic unfinished, let them willingly explore their argument. Even nevertheless, ending an absurd conversation is simpler than comprehending the other person's viewpoint. Sigma INFJs seek to quench their curiosity by maintaining composure and guiding through their reasoning without being rude or naive. Have you ever lost your temper with unreasonable individuals, being a Sigma INFJ? Number 7. They are more knowledgeable than most people believe. During conferences, business meetings, and intellectual talks, Sigma INFJs tend not to steal the show. And unlike others, they tend to control the group with the little insights they do have stored in their minds by repeatedly and loudly expressing their opinions. Instead, they are the stealthily lurking Thai pussets, sitting in the corner of the space while taking in everyone else's rambling presentations on the table, not being able to draw even one reliable conclusion regarding a problem. They also watch from a distance as the other members of the group overlap and become confused by their disjointed flow of thinking. And when called upon to speak, they astonish everyone by showing how much they genuinely know despite speaking and participating less. They deliver their profound thoughts with grace and composure, as if they've been considering them for years. They only came up with those concepts, though, in a matter of minutes. Number 6. They are steadfast workers. These lone wolves are aware of when and how to pursue their objectives. They have created a list of objectives they hope to accomplish. Then they base their actions, thoughts, and activities on these aims. Simply put, they strive hard to achieve them rather than merely hoping for them. Their aspirations frequently have little to do with what others have advised them to do or what their loved ones expect of them. If the purpose of the planning is to only impress others, the Sigma INFJ would not develop such extensive arrangements. They won't squander their time working hard or giving up their energy to serve the needs of others. Yes, their aspirations are for the good of all. However, they must follow their heart's wishes. Have you ever made goals based on other people's interests? As a Sigma INFJ. Number 5. They have a great deal of independence. A Sigma INFJ can never be forced to do something by just postponing one of their requirements. They cannot deprive them of something and then let its protracted absence endanger their very survival. Why? Because Sigma INFJs are highly independent and self-sufficient. They are capable of surviving alone. They don't need anyone's help or support to survive. Despite the fact that they would gladly appreciate sincere concern from others, they are perfectly capable of surviving without it. Anything individuals do for them is only an extra since they already have resources and abilities set up for their own future needs. Therefore, if you believe that Sigma INFJs rely on your opinions to be confident, you are mistaken. They can support their own ego, affirm their own emotions, and motivate themselves to work even more. And if you believe an INFJ Sigma needs your presence in their life, consider it twice because you might need a friend like them. Number 4. They think a lot inside. This is the one that most convincingly demonstrates why people should never undervalue and mistreat a Sigma INFJ. These lone wolves are the most difficult to trick and control since they are acutely aware of everything going on both within and outside of them. Manipulators and toxic people are unable to alter the way they perceive events or falsify their worldview in order to benefit from it. Because Sigma INFJs have a deep understanding of both their realities and themselves, rather than effortlessly changing how others perceive you. They take a strong stance and consider things carefully before accepting them. Nobody, not even their closest friends and family, can accurately describe them without their help, without their permission, their reality, and what they are capable of. They are so alert that it makes toxic people insane. Does reflection help you as a Sigma INFJ with how you see the world and yourself? Number 3. They pursue personal growth while leading independent lives. Nobody should undervalue the Sigma INFJ's capacity to outgrow their competitors in the workplace, because they are unstoppable when it comes to self-improvement. Even if they are already performing at their peak, they're not going to end there. Don't misunderstand this. There will always be instances in which Sigma INFJs lack motivation and make poor decisions. They stumble and can wind up in dead ends since they are human and make mistakes. But what distinguishes them from their competitors is how rapidly they bounce back and grow from their errors. They are not prone to making the same bad choices over and over again and impeding their own advancement. Instead, they close their doors to outside influences, concentrate on their spears, live in their thoughts, and keep improving themselves, notwithstanding the situation. Number 2. They are capable without a doubt. Never mistreat an INFJ Sigma, because they deliver on their promises. This lone wolf is always reliable, especially when it comes to the duties they claim to be in charge of. However, they are also careful about what they carry and where they go. They won't hesitate to delegate it to the appropriate person or leave it behind if they believe that something is no longer within their area of responsibility. However, they will work hard to fulfill their obligations without falling short of their own standards. They are able to care for both themselves and their family, since they are competent and responsible. They don't give up easily, and unlike some individuals, they don't even give up when faced with several challenges or tiny inconveniences. Do you, as a Sigma INFJ, take pride in your ability and responsibility? Number 1. They pause before speaking. Yes, it is overrated to describe a Sigma INFJ in this way. This is as accurate a description as any, though. Being quiet at conferences, meetings, and casual interactions does not imply that they lack communication skills or have nothing to say. The truth is that Sigma INFJs are introverts who prefer to observe and immerse themselves in their surroundings before integrating in. People like to have their ideas polished before sharing them. Similarly, before expressing their overly complex views, they seek to simplify them, so that at least some people can comprehend them. However, employ caution because most statements made by Sigma INFJs have deeper meanings. Once they communicate, they do so with logic and a sense of purpose, humor. They will deliberate their next words for a while. Therefore, you should not press them to express their opinions, but be prepared for an intelligent and perceptive reply. Long-time acquaintances of an INFJ Sigma can't and won't ever meddle with them, because they are aware that if they do, regrets may follow. Do you acknowledge being underappreciated by your peers as an INFJ Sigma? Because you are so quiet. How did you refute their claims?